Good morning, friends and family, YouTube worldwide. Welcome back to my channel. First and foremost, I want to give thanks to the Most High for allowing everything possible and for allowing me to give you this content. Today is Good Friday. Today is the best day of the work week. Today is payday. Today is week 34 of the 100 envelope savings challenge. Roth IRA savings challenge. All right. Don't forget to pay yourself first. That's the number one thing that you want to do. Don't forget to pay yourself first a bare minimum of 20%. If you could do 25, that would be even better. But if you can't do 20 or 25, you could start off with 5% and gradually over time, you could increase it. All right. Until you reach the 25% plateau. All right, friends and family, it's very, very important for you to save money. All right. Saving money is essential. Saving money is what can I say? It's the basic thing that you can do when it comes to personal finance. Saving money, being disciplined, being patient. Save money. Once you get into the habit of saving money, which is a good habit, then you could start investing your money, right? Because the only way you're gonna build wealth is by multiplying your money. All right, friends and family. All right. So disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. I am just sharing what works for me. Here we create a budget. Here we manage our money wisely. Here we save first and spend later. Here we set financial goals. Here we invest early. Here we avoid debt. To summarize what I just said, here we earn, save, and invest for the long haul. Here we are building a solid financial foundation, and here we make sure we are fully funded weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly. As the head of the money management team, I want to go over the 3 golden rules of managing money. Golden rule number 1, don't spend more than you earn. Golden rule number 2, help your money grow. Golden rule number 3, plan for the future. All right, friends and family, money is just a tool, right? Money is just a tool. Money is used to meet basic needs, create security, and fund lifestyle goals. That's all that is, right? It's just like a hammer. It's morally neutral and only valuable for what it builds. Treating money as the final goal often leads to stress, while treating it as a tool helps align spending with personal values. Money covers essentials like paying bills, paying for housing, and paying for food, buying time and freedom, funds experiences like traveling, learning new things, and that brings personal joy to you. You know, that's what money is, right? So it's very, very important to save your money, friends and family. That's the basic thing that you could do, is to save your money, right? And then after over time, once you do your research and you learn how to invest, so that way you can multiply it, then you could proceed and do that. All right, friends and family. So we are in week 34, and we are going to mark down, you know, how much we are going to put. I have 20, 30, 2, and 4. And this is what we are going to put in our binder here. All right, friends and family. So we are already 34 weeks into the year, and that's what we do. What we do, you know, is save money. We doing the bare minimum, the basics, right? When it comes to personal finance, and that's to save money. You know, I don't listen to, you know, what everybody else say. You know, if you keep your money in a savings account and this, that, and the third, you gotta have money. You gotta have an emergency fund, right? Once you have that discipline to save for your emergency fund, then you can start planning to save money for whatever short-term goals that you have, like traveling, right? But you gotta have that discipline to save money. Because if you don't save money, how are you going to invest money? How are you going to multiply your money if you don't have that discipline to save, right? Saving is elementary. You know, saving is what can I say? That's the number one thing that you want to do. The good habit that you want to have is to save money. All right, friends and family, once you got that covered, once you have that discipline to save money, then you could multiply your money. All right, friends and family, how do you multiply your money? Is by investing. Investing in what? Investing in stocks, bonds, real estate, you know, things like that. All right, friends and family, so we are in week 34, and we putting $34 in our slot right here. All right, week 34. All right, friends and family. So let's mark down week 34. And right now we have $595 so far in here. $595. All right, friends and family, there you go. Week 34, the last column, the last on the second row, right there. $595. And what we have in our Roth IRA, we have $921, right? $921.92. That's how much we have. So we are up $21.92 just by investing, right? We have money invested in the Roth IRA, and we have $921.92. If we and the cash that I have that I was saving every week, it would have been $900. So we are up $21.92. All right. So that's what investing does. Investing multiplies your money. All right, friends and family. So now we want to also make sure that we are fully funded for the week. We are 3 weeks into the month of August. August is already almost done. Next week, August is done. Right now, it's August 21st. And we are 3 weeks into the year, into the month. All right. So we want to make sure my water bill is fully funded. My oil bill is fully funded. Mortgage is fully funded. Phone bill is fully funded. And insurance is fully funded. Now, the oil bill. We are still in the summer months, but I still save money while we are not in the winter months. So that way, come winter time, that way comes when it's time for them to provide me with oil, I already have the money saved up, right? I don't want to wait. I don't want to, even though I have this in my budget, it's a budget that I have planned for the whole year. So even though I'm not getting oil now in the summertime, I still save money for the oil. So that way come October, once they start providing me with more oil, I have the money already set aside to pay for the oil, right? I don't like to wait for the last minute. That's not what I do. I like to plan, right? That's part of the budget. The oil bill is part of the budget. The oil bill is the all year round budget. Water bill, oil bill, mortgage, phone bill, insurance, that's for the whole year. But what I do, I break it down into 4 weeks, right? So you all know me. Y'all been following me for the last 5 years. If you've been following for the last 5 years, but if not, and you just came in, thank you for joining the club. Thank you for joining the challenge family. It's something that we've been doing for the last 5 to 6 years. I break down my bills into 4 weeks. Once we get that fifth week, you could do whatever you want with that money. You could spend it, or you could treat it as in part of the budget, as I do. What I do sometimes, I take half of it and spend it on me, and things to do with me and my wife, and then the other half goes to savings. All right, friends and family, that's how we do it over here. We want to have money, for any emergencies, and we always want to have money for investment opportunities. All right, friends and family, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Have a blessed day, and God willing, I hope you all have something, good to do this week. Last week, me and my wife went into the city. We went to this barbecue festival. I think I'm gonna put a little bit of the highlights, what I did last week. We went to the Edge, which is a 100 stories up, and you could see the whole city 360 degrees. It was awesome. And then we went on a sunset cruise. So sometimes like at least twice a month, we try to do something, because we have to enjoy ourselves, right? We work hard, you have to have something to show for it. You know what I mean? So this is what we do here. Friends and family, have a blessed weekend, and God willing, I'll come up with week 35 next week. All right, peace and love.